So with that all done, let's pop the motherboard. Now with the case having had a Hello and welcome to another Retro Crazy. Today we're going to look at something a little bit different. So let's step back in time to 1984 and meet the Excelvision EXL-100, a marvel of French engineering that dared to be different. This 8-bit home computer, powered by the unique TMS 7020 microprocessor from Texas Instruments, stood out in a sea of 6502 and Z80 base machines. This was no random choice either, as the founders of Excelvision are all previous Texas Instruments employees. Designed with innovation in mind, the EXL-100 featured infrared connected keyboards and joysticks, freeing users from the tangle of cables. It also boasted speech synthesis capability, in French of course, making it a pioneer in voice technology. Not enough? What about adding a floppy disk controller or more memory using the XL Memoir, or even a drum machine with the XL drums? This was indeed designed to expand with the user. With its vibrant 8-colour graphics and versatile basic programming language on cartridge, the EXL-100 was not just a computer, it was designed to be a gateway to the future of home computing. This is a system I really wasn't aware of until recently. The seller was a lovely gentleman by the name of Olivier, who let me know he was the owner of this computer since new, when it was bought for him by his father. So let's see if I can do this system justice and ensure it will remain functional for another 40 years. So with the EXL-100 you get by default your keyboard, and of course this is infrared. It is missing the battery cover unfortunately, so I'll maybe see about designing and printing one of those, and it just takes a PP3 battery. Different ROMs used different overlays, and this one is specifically for XL Basic, and this is the ROM. Now the ROM is protected in a hard case, and you have to push and slide to get it to pop out, which then you can insert into the front of the machine. That's it, your ROM is now installed. They also supplied games on ROM and a whole bunch of other things. So let me pop this back out and let me move the keyboard to the side at the moment. It was also supplied with the original Excelvision tape deck, of which I'll need to clean and service, and we can see it's got volume, it's got monitor, it's got, yeah, the usual, and a DIN, because that's how it connects into the EXL-100. And then we've got the main unit itself, but what I hear you say about these infrared joysticks that it came with? Well, they're actually tucked away in here. And it had a built-in holder for the joysticks. So that is rather different. I mean, it's not the most comfortable in the world. It's obviously quite blocky, you know, up, down, left, right, fire button. I'm going to guess that's the same because you have to cant your hand quite a bit to get that one to work. And then it featured a full keypad. Again, unfortunately, missing the covers, but maybe I can 3D print those. I don't even know what they look like. It looks like they go in and push down and clip in, so I'll need to see what I can do there. And there's a pair. I seem to have a spare foot, it's maybe off the underside. And then it latches closed, which is quite nice. It means you've always got somewhere to put it and keep your joystick safe. There was apparently an issue though. XL themselves did their own monitor which sat on the top here, I'm not sure if the scores are from that or from another monitor. However, if that monitor or television was too heavy, it would distort the top of the case and could cause issues jamming the drawer. However, that drawer is a bit squeaky and very rough, so we'll need to see about clearing that up. But let's have a look round this itself. So on the front, we've got our ROM port, and this is our infrared sensor. That's a latch button, so this feels like it should be power, and this is momentary, so this is quite possibly just a reset. Nothing on the right hand side. On the back we have power in, and we have some covered ports, which I'll pop them out shortly, but that should give access to some of the expansion ports. And then tucked away inside we have these two ports. This I believe is DIN, so that'll be for the cassette, and this one is for your video out. And again, nothing on the left hand side. That is it. So the power supply was actually integrated, and that was great because it meant the amount of cables that you actually needed was actually very minimal. Right, normally I would start with the power supply. The power supply is in here. So first thing we're going to have to do, I guess, is crack this open. On the back I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 6 screws. I'm going to try and lift this off so I don't damage it. There's no guarantees. We'll see what we can do. To do that, I'm going to use some isopropyl alcohol. And what I'm trying to do is to get the isopropyl alcohol underneath the adhesive so that the adhesive will start to lift, and then hopefully I can very carefully pull this back. And there we are, that's as far back as I need to take it, so let's get all of these screws out. So we've got our first look at the insides of the EXL-100, and yeah, it's quite industrial. Nice circuit board, and look at this heatsink. Wow. Okay, we do have a riveted power regulator, but that's fine. We can do something about that, but that's quite industrial. Number of caps that I'm going to be replacing because I don't trust old caps, as you will be well aware by now if you've watched the channel. And again, we've got some nice metal clips which are being used for the screws. So I'll pop this to the side because obviously this is going to need a good clean. So what do we have holding in the circuit board now? Well, the buttons on the front I'm just going to lift out so they're safely out of the way, and we can actually see the original colour. Very faded unfortunately, but the original colour inside. We've got power coming in at the back. We've got a nice big chunky connector on the motherboard which can come out. Then, judging by how freely that motherboard seems to be moving, I'm going to guess it's not actually held in by much at all. The front flap is just gravity. There's no spring, there's no nothing. Gravity just holds this down. I can see the power coming from the back round to the switch, the main on-off switch. I'm going to need to see if I can carefully lift that out, and that should, if this is the same, no. So let's get this out. Nice big industrial transformer. They're great, they just rarely fail, so that can safely go to the side. Let's see if we can just lift this board out. Okay, drawer is catching it, so I need to eject because this is obviously tucked inside. There's a lot of space on this board and it's very nicely laid out. It's very nicely done, I do have to say. There we go, there's the main board. I'm going to pop this temporarily to the side. Okay, this is a nice mechanism, just the latch. You can see that it's just held in like that, and very simple and straightforward. So let's see if we can get this out, which we can. We've got the main spring here and the drawer. So you can see it has been greased. Judging by the squeaks, I'd say the grease has probably dried quite a bit. Yeah, it's more tacky than grease anymore. So this is all going to need cleaned. I'll need to clean all this. Let's try and quieten this off and make it a little bit smoother than it was. So yeah, it needs a little bit of a clean, but in general it's actually in quite nice condition. And as you can see, the stick has started to come back. Oop, don't want a crease in it. So that should be okay. So yeah, this can go away for a bit of a clean. So with all the plastics to the side, this is what we're left with, which is the main board. It's being held up at the moment. Oh, all the adhesive's died on. That pad should just sit there. This one still attached, so that's fine. So it looks like what I need to do is drill this one so I can then take the heatsink off, and then once that heatsink is off, I should be able to get into absolutely everything. So give me a second while I go get the drill and let's remove this. So with that rivet drilled out and everything cleaned, this can go to the side. I've had to bend everything out the way so I could actually get down with the drill, but that's fine because these all look like they are power transistors, so I'm going to have to check them, see what they are. But first, let's remove all of these caps. So with all the caps and the transistors off, I can see what we're working with, and it's going to need a bit of a clean, so that's going to be next. Get rid of all this dust. I'm going to give these connectors a bit of a clean up. It does look like they've been used. I don't think this came with anything that would plug into the ports, unfortunately. But what I can tell you, it pretty much uses every single voltage regulator, from a 7805, 7905, 7912, 7812. Great. I've had to order up, I think, the 7912 because it's not one I normally have. So I'll have to wait a little bit for that, but let's give this a clean up and let's fit what we can. And for you it will be seamless because I'm just going to add the other ones in at the end once they arrive. Now, one thing I didn't think about was this can, which is the IR receiver. So let's pop the can open and see what's inside, because I'm going to guess there's more caps. Yep, more caps. I got another 3. Right, let's get these out and replaced as well. So with the board all clean and done, fully recapped, new voltage regulators and all the edge connectors done, 2 things I have left to do before I pop this to the side. I'm going to pop some deoxit into the reset switch, and I want to pop some deoxit into the cartridge slot as well. So with that all done, let's pop the motherboard to the side and let's look at the case. Now with the case having had a bit of a bath, I haven't gone overboard because I didn't want to soak all the main areas, because there's a number of labels I would like to retain. However, everything has been cleaned. It now runs much smoother even without the grease, and it doesn't sound like it's grinding, it's just dry. So let's pop some white lithium grease on and let's reassemble this before dropping the motherboard and the transformer back in. And there we are, all done, all recapped, all clean. So this can now go to the side. So next to look at is going to be the keyboard. Again, it's going to need a clean. It is a bit dusty between the keys. No screws this time, just a number of clips. Well, that's the casing off, but it was a little bit destructive for the pry tools. These are really not designed to come apart easily at all. However, the casing, we can get in some hot soapy water, get it nice and clean. This I am not going to be putting in hot soapy water because those are carbon contact pads and I don't want them affected, so I'll probably just use a brush initially, get the worst of it off, and then have a go, I don't know, with maybe just with a damp sponge with some soap on it. Interestingly, while it's rubberized, that's a solid plastic core, I think. These aren't, these are just rubber keys, but the spacebar is a solid plastic core. So they'll need cleaned up, and that leaves the circuit board, which again, I'll give a gentle clean too. It looks good. I'm not sure if it's meant to have carbon contact over it. Some areas are darker than others. But what I do see is a cap, so we'll get that replaced. Once it's all clean, we can get it put back together. Now does that not look a whole lot better? Much cleaner and hopefully functional. We still need a battery cover, but I'm sure they don't make these anymore. But with the keyboard done, we can now pop this to the side. So moving on to the controllers, I would like to open them up, but I'm going to have a massive issue. Based on how difficult it was to get into the keyboard, I'm going to guess these are going to be equally as bad. Now, they have clip points at the front, but that's all that shows. However, on this controller, you can see this whole section has been snapped off because I can see it's cast in and it comes down. So this is gone. If we look at this side, I can see the clips have gone. There's obviously signs of prying. So somebody has been in before, and I'm going to guess that's because the cable broke and they repaired it. And just to confirm, yeah, I'm going to guess that's plastic moving about in there. I am loath to try and get these open because I really don't know if they will survive. So I am not going to. I'll do my best to clean them up as best I can, as long as they work. That's the main thing. Keep your fingers crossed, because I really don't know. Again, battery covers are missing, which is a shame, but we'll see what we can do about that later. Okay, I'll give them a bit of a clean, try and get this tape residue off, because I'm going to guess they were using tape just to keep everything closed. But other than that, just a cursory cleanup is all these are going to get at the moment. So let's put them to the side. So I'm going to pause the video here because I've got way more footage and much more to cover, and I don't want to overload this one video. So thank you for watching so far. Remember to like and subscribe, especially if you want a reminder for part 2. So I'll see you on the next Retro Crazy.